Moving on to the evening games, I did watch the Pacers and Clippers. Good to see Karis LeVert out there playing basketball, man. And not to jinx the brother, but he's kind of had he's had an injury-prone career, and I can see why. Right there, he just has that irky jerky style. He takes a lot of unusual steps and stops. You can tell the Pacers are kind of trying to adjust to his style. He's an isolation player. He's an isolation player. He does it well. He kind of just wants the ball and he wants you to get out of the way. Now, for the Clippers, they were minus Kawhi, sore right foot, and you could tell Paul George back in Indiana was thirsty, right? Every former player is thirsty when they get back to their old stomping grounds. And the Pacers' wings were just too small for Paul George. Holiday, LeVert, Sumner, they all got the work. But Holiday was the main defender on him. When you're giving up size, strength, length, and talent, it's going to be a tough matchup. And that's what you saw Paul George. He's been killing it, man. He's been killing it. What do you have, 36 and 8? Look, if Paul George and Kawhi are both playing well and healthy, I actually like the ball running through Paul George a lot more than I do Kawhi. The ball hops around more, right? He takes less time to attack. He's just more diverse and fluid with the basketball. And it shows in the numbers. The team had 34 assists last night. So I think in an ideal world on paper, the offense kind of runs through Paul George more. Now I know when Rondo's out there, he's going to set the table. And then late in games, you clear out and you give it to the cyborg at the nail. You let him do his thing. I think that would be on paper how the Clippers would want to look come playoff time. They're the hottest team in the league. They've won 6 in a row. Remember when people were making a big stink 7 games ago when they lost to Orlando? I said, no, it didn't mean nothing. Didn't mean nothing. And they've picked up right where they left off. Now, they need Serge. They're not going to do anything without Serge. They still lack rim protection. Zoo had a pretty nice night against Sabonis. And then you listen to Paul after the game, and it does seem like he's turned a corner as far as the maturity goes. You heard Shaq ask him, hey, Paul, is it finals or bust? Western Conference finals or bust? And, Paul, he kind of hesitated to say that because I think he knows how much flack he's gotten in the past for kind of backtracking and lying out of that statement he'd made before. And he kept it real, though. He said, yeah, absolutely it is. As much flack as I've given Paul George, I'd love to see him mature and turn the corner. I think the key for him kind of redeeming himself in the fans' eyes, and I know some of you would probably say, well, who cares? Why do you want to do that? Look, everybody wants to be loved, man. There are very few people. There are guys that like to play the villain and do it well. Patrick Beverley is a teammate of his. But most humans want acceptance and want to be loved. And I think the route for Paul to get back to being a more popular player amongst fans is obviously he's got to perform in the playoffs, right? But beyond that, whether they get knocked out in the second round or they lose in the NBA Finals, no one wants to hear any excuses from him. That was, I think, the real blemish when he started copping pleas and switching up what he said, trying to blame Doc. Own it. Whatever it is. If he turns into Vax P and leads them to a chip, so be it. But if and when they get knocked out, take some responsibility. I think that would be a true sign of him maturing and getting to where he wants to be.